1990s kids.
1990s kids.
Sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me.
Correct.
We were impenetrable.
We were invincible.
I'm rubber. You're glue. Whatever bounces... Whatever
you say.
Bounces off me and sticks to you.
Correct.
I know you are, but what am I?
Absolutely.
Words didn't hurt.
Words did not hurt because you just throw those words right back.
2020 kids.
Like a boomerang.
Words are violence.
Yes. Yes, they are. In fact, you try to teach a 2020 kid, I'm rubber, you're glue, and they look at you like you're stupid.
Well, it is kind of a stupid saying.
You know, it is, but the principle is what's important there. Not everything a kid says to you actually makes any real impact, especially if they're a dumb kid.
Welcome.
Fresh out the box. Stop. Look and watch. Ready yet? Get set. It's
The Following Podcast.
Eat my short. Not the mama. Not the mama.
Goodbye.
You know, there are dumb kids.
Right, well, what about the smart ones?
Okay, well, if a smart one says something, maybe you should be a little insulted.
If you were smart, maybe you wouldn't be saying rude things.
You know, I tend to find that the smart kids, that's really all they've got is the mean things to say or the quick comebacks.
Are you saying that you have a bias against smart kids?
No, I love smart kids. I'm one of them.
If I remember correctly.
I mean, I got smarter as I got older. I don't know. You know, we were kind of, it was interesting to be a Garrison back in those times because we really thought that we were cool.
We were cool.
I mean, we definitely thought we were. So,
Well, I still think that we were.
middle-
Other people didn't share that opinion.
No. Elementary school, middle school, and high school. I remember actually getting kind of cool in middle school when I grew my hair out long, and
Right.
like kind of
In
hippie-ish.
your rebel stage.
In my rebel stage, got my ear pierced.
Yeah.
Left ear, of course, like, to differentiate.
I still had the same haircut I have now.
Yep. Pretty much.
Wait, how long was your hair?
It's pretty good.
And chin length,
Chin
probably.
length, yeah.
Yeah.
I'd party down the middle.
He had
What?
the
little
old skater
surfer-
buzz up the
surfer
side.
boy.
Oh,
Surfer
okay.
boy.
1990s haircuts were the best.
Yeah, I followed suit eventually.
Yeah.
And
Tried it out for a while.
I
You
did.
still had kind of a weird little,
Well, I mean,
wave thing going off the
what
top.
are you going to do?
But
Decide the waterfall on
The
both
second
sides?
the second Ben started growing his hair a little longer, had the wave thing going on both sides, all of a sudden, girls were looking.
Not as hard as they were looking at Luke, apparently.
Well, that's because I was the cooler twin for a very brief period in 1996 and 7. And then it went away.
I don't know. It might have been the emo haircut and spikes.
Puberty. Yeah, those good times. Good times. Yeah, but we weren't exactly. I mean, we thought we were a lot cooler than we were.
Well,
and
we were.
even back when we were, bouncing around in 6th grade in our corduroys. Remember corduroy pants?
Oh, yeah. Those were in style for
Bouncing around in our corduroy pants.
much shorter time period than what we wore them.
Listening to our ska music. Huh?
OC Supertones.
OC Supertones.
No doubt.
Some No Doubt. Jumping on the trampoline to forms that we created using Taekwondo. Yeah.
Wow. I'm instantly embarrassed.
We were very cool. I mean, we really weren't that cool. But we had fun.
We did.
We had fun.
And we nursed some serious creativity.
Yeah. And I even look back at our friends back then and I think, man, they were so cool. Our friends were so cool. And
Right.
I think about it and I go, nope, they were geeks. We were the geek squad. We just didn't realize it.
No.
We really thought that we were among the cool fray. So,
But
I guess
you know
there's
what?
just
Maybe, you know what, though?
what?
I think we were.
Well, there's something to blind ignorance.
I think... I say,
Uh-huh.
who determines what cool is?
Wow, it just got deep.
Snoopy, Joe Cool.
There's a definite 90s reference there.
Ayo. See, I'm
Ashley's
zinging.
over there going,
I am on
what?
fire.
Took me a little longer.
Snoopy's Joe Cool. It doesn't make any sense.
Joe Cool. Snoopy's Joe Cool.
Yeah. Knott's Berry Farm. She's got to look it up.
So
She's going
lost.
for it. It was an ad campaign once upon a time.
I don't know. All I have to say about that is, it was fun to be a nerd in the 90s, even if you didn't know you were a nerd in the 90s.
Yeah.
So, buckle up.
Buckle up.
That was a really long cold open.
Wait, that was our opener?
Well, we just kind of went right into it, didn't
That's
we?
great.
You know, what's interesting is how TV regulated schedule, right, for kids.
Right.
And there was no better place to be on Saturday night than on the big orange couch.
That's true.
You'd sit, we'd snick it up.
So SNICK, being Nickelodeon's Saturday night lineup, it was that's what you did.
That's what you did.
There's 4 shows-ish back to back that fell into the Saturday night slot.
Do you remember? I've got the lineup here. I'm not going to tell you what
man.
it is. Do you remember any of the lineup?
I remember a lot of the shows,
Okay.
but I don't remember what order they were in.
Well, you're doing fun. I was kind of hoping that you'd just give it to me.
You had all that.
First of all, did you know that SNICK SNICK in its original formation ran from 1990 all the way to 2000?
Really?
Yeah, and then it started SNICK House in 2000, and it ran for like another 5 years.
Huh.
But it's actually technically it was 92. SNICK started in 1992 and ran to 2000 as SNICK. Yep, late till 2000 or until 1999, mid 1999 to 2000, it started SNICK House, and then and that went on till 2002. So they ran SNICK for a long time. SNICK was still bebopping all the way till 2025 or no till 2005. Boy, I'm not getting my dates good at all.
They were bebopping?
They were bebopping along, bebopping rock steady. They were bebopping and they were rock steady.
So you had Alex Mack.
Alex Mack. Yep.
You had all that.
Yes.
Are You Afraid of the Dark?
Yes.
Keenan and Kel.
Keenan and Kel was in there, but it wasn't in the same time.
Did
but
you
yeah.
look?
Are you peeking?
Rugrats?
Rugrats. Believe it or not, Rugrats was in the lineup.
That's
at
really
one
weird.
point.
That doesn't seem like it would
so
be.
do you remember a show called Space Cases?
Huh.
I don't either. Yeah, it dropped. That was in spring of '96. There was a show called Space Cases that was there for a little while. It pushed all that to the 9:00 hour. And then The Adventures of Pete and Pete is in there too.
I remember Pete and Pete.
So Are You Afraid of the Dark ran all the way from 1992 to 1996. Now, do you remember how much of Are You Afraid of the Dark we used to watch?
Probably the first intro.
Yes, it
The intro
terrified
was weird.
us.
It went like this.
Are you afraid of the dark?
It's like a match that lit. There was a swing.
And it showed a doll face.
All by itself.
Ooh.
It was very spooky. And it was about these kids that would sit around a campfire and they'd tell scary stories. Everybody would bring one. And we finally got up the nerve to watch an episode once.
Nailed it. Nailed the heartbeat.
Yeah.
This is the flame being lit, and then the Are You Afraid of the Dark coming over the screen. Yep. Yeah.
Terrifying.
That is scary.
Yeah. So
I
imagine.
feel like we watched a lot of the episodes.
No, we got to
though.
a point where we did, but
Okay.
I promise you it wasn't in 1992.
Right.
We started watching it. I actually remember there was an episode that the girl that played Clarissa, and Clarissa Explains It All, was the lead. Melissa Joan Hart.
yeah.
Melissa Joan Hart was the lead in one of the Are You Afraid of the Dark? It was like a crossover episode. And that, I think, was one of the very first ones we watched.
Oh, okay.
And then we realized it's really not that scary. And so then we started watching it pretty regularly.
Right.
But the opening credits were definitely the most scary part. So there's that. And I mean, I do remember like nightmares coming from.
Aww.
I don't remember any
show.
nightmares. I do remember having bad dreams about America's Most Wanted.
No, it was Unsolved Mysteries.
Oh, that's what it was.
Do you remember
Yeah.
Unsolved Mysteries?
Yeah. The
I
little
used-
sketch pictures.
Yes, I would see those faces in my
Listen.
sleep. I remember going out and telling Dad once.
They're still a little freaky.
Yes. I would go out and be like, Dad, I'm scared because I saw that picture of that sketched guy. And Dad was mean about it. He was like, go to bed. There's no sketch guy. He was like, he's in my window.
Yeah, I remember that too. Those sketch artists were freaky.
You know,
What
they're
was
all
this
the-
about?
It was Unsolved Mysteries. It was like a TV show where they basically go over cases.
Real cases.
Yeah,
And at
then
the
at
end-
the end they'd show like John Smith is still outstanding. He looks kind of like this.
Yes. John Smith is still at large. If you have any information, call 1-800-UNSOLVED Mysteries.
I think it's 1-800 Unsolved Mysteries. That may be too many letters.
And then they'd be like,
You might need to abbreviate that.
1-800-UNSOLVED Mysteries. Can we help you?
Yeah. So
Yes,
anyway,
I have information.
and then they showed the picture that the sketch artist did. Now sketch artists, they get as close as
It's
they
a
can.
sketch
Yeah.
rendering.
But
based
it's
off of
always
memory.
like their nose is always disproportionate to their ears or whatever,
Right.
so it always looks a little weird and
Little cartoony.
So, but you're like, they're out there. They're still out there at large.
right.
And they could get me, even though that it took place in Tennessee and I live in California. Like, it didn't really matter. They could get me, and then they would have me. And because for some reason I was
Was this a show for kids?
No.
no.
Yeah, we went way off topic here.
Well, we would just Dad would watch or Mom would watch or it would be on or whatever the case may be,
Right.
and we'd watch it, and then I'd get that.
or we'd walk out in the living room and we're actually supposed to be in bed and peek around the corner and there was the picture on the TV.
And so then it was like, well, and I'm just gonna have to hug my son a little tighter because he's this way too. Micah James is like this, where he's freaked out by everything. You know what I mean? Like it freaks him out, and he's
Isaac,
kind
I
of-
got to shut the closet door.
Right.
And I got to shut the
But-
other closet door.
But thinking about this, now I'm remembering the true fear that I would feel, and it makes me feel a little bit bad for.
Why? Because you sound like Dad?
You know, see, there's nothing happening. You're gonna go back to bed.
Yeah.
Don't you think your dad would protect you?
I do say that. I do say, don't you think your dad would protect you? That's one of my favorites. If something happened, Dad I would be there. That's what I would do.
Yes, but you're all the way downstairs.
No, I'm not. I'm right next door in the next bed.
But what if you don't
But
hear
you have to go through their room to get to my room. Pass
So,
by
for
their
any
room first.
burglars out there waiting to murder children, the layout of Luke's house goes...
Don't do that. Don't do it. Probably not good to give that.
It's okay. None of our 4 listeners are murderers, I promise.
You cannot guarantee that.
If any of you 4 listeners are murderers, please...
Call 1-800.
Are you right?
1-800
Unsolved mysteries. That's where you can get us with that information.
I still feel the need to talk like this occasionally.
1-800 Unsolved Mysteries. So let's get back to the lineup, shall we? Because I think we did segue away from that a little
Sure.
bit. So The Secret World of Alex Mack.
Right.
Good show, bad show.
It was entertaining. I felt like it was entertaining. But I haven't seen it in a number of years, obviously. But it was about a girl who had, she got in some sort of car accident happened by her, and she got covered in some weird goo, and had magical powers, and she was
then
trying
she
to keep
could-
him a secret
She
at
could
that
morph.
point.
At that,
Right.
She could morph into the goo.
Like into the goo, yeah.
and she could do little things with her
right,
fingers,
like
like
little
electricity.
electric things, yeah. So she had powers, and she went around and helped solve.
And she was kind of like that 1990s misunderstood girl.
Oh,
you
she was the
know?
girl next door for
Yeah,
sure.
the
She's
misunderstood, like baggy clothes, backward hat. Alex Mack.
None of the
you know.
boys
Yeah,
noticed her.
She really liked the boys, but for some reason she wasn't noticed by them.
even though she was beautiful.
Right.
and Yeah.
It didn't
Yeah.
really make sense in the real world,
But
but
she
for some
wore-
reason it did in
She
Hollywood.
wore she wore a beanie on her head, so she wasn't noticeable.
That's
Or a
right.
backward hat.
Her hat backwards. Yeah. So it obviously stole all of her beauty away.
So we got Pete and Pete, which was like an earlier version of that one show. I don't.
Oh.
Yeah, you know that one?
Yeah, I'm right there with you.
Yeah,
No idea.
Malcolm in the Middle.
I don't think that was the
I feel like it's the same kind of show. Just an odd
just two brothers,
two brothers, both named Pete.
right? For whatever reason.
Yeah, you know the episode I always remember that one, King O Road. Do you remember that one? His dad. They were traveling.
I remember something of an open-faced sandwich.
Okay, that was an episode 2. Open Face was the name of the bully.
That's right. That's why I remember. Yeah, and he
Yeah.
always had an open-faced sandwich.
Always had
maybe?
an open face sandwich. And he would like smear it on kids, I think, or something weird. So, but what I was going to say is that there was a King O Road episode, and the whole premise was about them traveling and how his dad, he'd like travel with his elbow out the window, you know, and he was the King O Road because the license plate King of Road or King of the Road was already taken. So he had to be King O Road. And they ran into the actual King of the Road
Oh man.
whilst traveling, and there was this road rage thing that was happening in the midst of the episode. In the end, they were stacking luggage to see who could stack their luggage highest.
I do remember that.
On the car.
Yeah.
And
While they were driving.
yes, while they were driving, and the moms were holding the wheels while they were climbing out and stacking luggage. And Pete and Pete dad wins, and they transfer the license plate of King O Road and King of Road. They flip them for each other. Super
very
illegal.
illegal, yeah.
So that's what I think about all the time. Is I wonder if that ever turned into a problem for them. Like you go fast forward.
Well,
the rest of the episode.
what if King O Road guy or King of the Road guy went and robbed a bank right after that? And
Right.
then where are the authorities going?
Well, and then I can't remember if it was the front license plate or the back license plate. So then I'm thinking maybe it was a character plate. But then why couldn't he have gotten the same one?
Sure.
You know what I mean?
That makes sense.
Anyway,
Keenan and
very, very entertaining.
Keenan and Kel. Kel loves orange soda.
Who loves orange soda?
Kale loves orange soda. And then there was all that, which, I mean, you talk about segments on that. You got Walter the Ear Boy. You got...
Who was your favorite? What was your favorite segment on all that?
Who was the guy with the big pants?
Bag and Sag and Barry. Bag and Sag and Barry.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Bag and Sag and Barry. Yeah, he'd reach deep into his pants.
Pizza Face.
And for whatever reason, he had whatever you needed
Yep.
In his pants.
in his
His
pants.
pants.
His bag and Sag
They
and Barry.
didn't make enough of those though. Like,
No.
so funny.
There's Pizza Face. That was Walter the Ear Boy's best friend.
Yeah. But
He actually had a slice of pizza over his face.
Walter the Ear Boy.
His ears are really big.
Yeah.
Aw.
That great show. All that was great all around. They started adding new hosts and new things and I mean it's one of those things like you love the classic, right? And so kind of wander off of that. It doesn't take very long. So then you had Rugrats, which for some reason as 8, 9, 10, 11, 12-year-olds was still an awesome show.
Well, my boys like it though. They'll ask me every once in a while, "Hey, can we watch an episode of Rugrats?" And I'll throw it on for them. Which some of the little adventures that they get into are pretty funny.
yeah.
But I think that anything that like that, it gave the ability for you to feel like a big kid. You know what I mean? You're
Right.
watching the funny babies do these antics or whatever. I could see why it'd be appealing, but
Well, so toward the end of the 90s, they got into the journey of Alan Strange. They got into Keenan and Kel. Are You Afraid of the Dark came back again because, it was just such a hit show. You just don't think of it that way. And then that's when it started transition. So, Angry Beavers. That was the other one that was in the early stages, late 90s, 98, 99.
What was
Angry
it?
Beavers. Angry Beavers.
I don't remember that.
Yeah. That's because it was late. I mean, you're probably too focused on relationships and
Oh yeah, I was quite the charmer.
quite the charmer at that point. Probably magic. You were probably doing magic tricks. You're practicing, honing in on your magic
Practicing my
skills
illusions.
so that you were ready to impress the ladies with
Yeah.
all your coin and card tricks.
Hey, that close-up magic,
It makes a difference.
it
Yeah.
helps.
Yep. You impress them for 2 seconds and then they go back to hanging out with their boyfriend
Right.
who plays football.
But you just for
But
that
you
2
tried
seconds.
as well.
For that 2 seconds, you've got them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did try football. That was not my greatest.
Well, you didn't realize they were going to hit you so hard.
I think that they targeted me.
They definitely target. Probably because you were a twin.
Maybe they had the twin bias
They
that
had
we
a
talked
twin
about.
bias. Yeah.
Or they had didiophobia.
Didiophobia.
Didiophobia. Is that how? Did we figure out that's how you pronounce it?
I don't know.
It was didimophobia.
We really need to talk to a psychiatrist
Didimophobia.
Yeah.
Anyway.
for many reasons other than that, and also that.
Well, it was because we were ridiculously handsome. That was probably it, as Mom would tell us all the time.
Do you remember the Kids' Choice Awards?
I do remember Kids' Choice. They still do it.
Do they?
Yeah.
yeah.
Well,
I think they do.
They do. Yeah. I just don't think it's as noticeable because we don't have cable anymore.
See, I mean, and I know that segment was dedicated to SNICK, but you talk about, I mean, there's several different areas that you could jump into.
Well, I know. And we'll
TV-wise.
grab some of those.
Okay.
We'll just have to fall back to it. So, I was gonna ask though, and maybe we'll tuck this in somewhere if we have the opportunity. But do you have any like very specific SNICK memories?
Like when we were kids?
Yeah.
No, I mean, mostly that, just getting excited and sitting on the couch and we'd make popcorn or whatever. And it really wouldn't matter where we were. Like,
Right.
We'd go over to a friend's house for dinner,
Right.
some of our close family friends, or even just a night with the family,
Or the
extended
there's a
family,
babysitter
or the
that's over.
babysitter that came. Yeah, it was like it wasn't like it is now, where you are trying to find whatever episode that you're watching to binge next. This was a lineup that was pre-programmed that you could watch every Saturday night if you didn't have a rental from Blockbuster or something to throw on there. But that was normally a Friday night thing anyway.
Yeah.
So.
I remember. So this is what I remember. I remember one time that we had a babysitter over, right? And we were settled in to watch SNICK, and Are You Afraid of the Dark was coming on or whatever. And I remember thinking to myself, oh, I'm going to pull one over on the babysitter, right? And I'm thinking this is going to be so funny, okay? And I tell her,
Foreshadowing.
I said,
It wasn't that funny.
I said babysitter. I don't remember her name.
Babysitter.
Hey, babysitter.
Which one was she?
Huh? I don't know. I don't think she lasted long.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. Our babysitters didn't last long.
Can't imagine why. Finish the story. I apologize.
I said babysitter. I said babysitter.
Uh-huh.
There is a face in the window. Ben, she freaked out. Like, what? And I was like, yeah, I just saw a face in the window. And she's like, oh my gosh, right? And I was like, yeah. And
I think I kind of remember this.
do you remember this? And so then I was like, I'm just kidding. There's not really a face in the window. And she was like, oh my gosh. Oh, she's like so irritated. But then she goes on to say like everything that we would do if there had been a face in the window.
Oh, like she wanted to make sure that you knew that we were
Yeah.
prepared.
And it completely freaked me out. Like I was like, okay. It was just like describing like we would all get together and I would grab the phone and we would go and we'd hide in the back, over by the counters, and we'd tuck back there and I'd have you
The
guys,
cordless phone,
Yeah,
for anybody
I'd
who's
grab the
wondering. We
cordless
were
phone.
that bougie.
I'd grab the cordless phone and we'd hang back and we'd call 911 and we'd wait there. And I'd go, wait for what? Pending death? Like, it was like freaky.
Oh, backfired.
Yeah, and the whole time, Are You Afraid of the Dark is playing in the background.
Right.
Because, you couldn't pause the show.
No, there's no such
there's
thing as pausing.
No pausing. So we've got going on in the background while she's telling the story of what we would do if there was actually a face in the window. And we're like terrified. I'm thinking, I'm going to get a butter knife so I have some protection. Those were the only knives we were allowed to use. So, I wasn't going to
You know what's funny is
sharper.
my kids will say, "Can I get a butter knife?"
They did.
Yes, it's obviously something that goes through young men's heads. Like, they have to have the ability.
Well, it's the only
Or
knife
the
you really
thing
have
that-
access to. You can reach it.
Isaac has a pocket knife that's about that long,
Right.
And he thinks that is a pretty worthy guard. I was like, boy, you could really pester somebody with that thing.
And poke him a couple of
Poke
times.
him a few times, and
Ouch. Yeah.
Stop it.
You could do more damage with a fork.
But I let him have it.
You know,
Yeah.
do what we do.
I'm gonna let him feel tough. And then I grab my pocket knife.
No. So, switching sub, was that good?
That was good. I was just gonna say the pocket knife approach is kind of a Bilbo Baggins kind of.
Yeah.
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 You know, Sting.
Sting the tiny dagger.
Sting it.
Okay, go ahead.
So shifting gears, I wanted to talk about another thing that happened. It was kind of a TV thing, which, like I said, in the 90s, everything was kind of motivated by what was going on or what movies were playing or what was showing.
Yeah, at least for us.
Well,
apparently.
and I feel like this one's actually a good one to talk about because we lived in California when this particular production came out, and it was actually pieces of it were filmed right here in Ponca City, Oklahoma.
Twister.
Yes.
Yes.
Twister came out. Okay.
Oh man.
So Twister was released, I think, in pause for
It had to be 1994.
1996, 95, 95, or 94.
96.
Is it 96? Okay, so because we moved here in 98. So Twister comes out in 96, okay? And by
Right.
that time, for some reason, my mom was letting us watch PG-13 movies.
Probably
And-
because we were almost 13.
well, and let me tell you, back then, the rating system made a huge difference.
Oh, sure.
Like, I remember very specifically going to our first PG movie, which was...
Parental Guidance
Yes.
movie.
Do you remember which one it was? Hook, right?
Yep.
We went and saw Hook in theaters, and Levi had to stay home, and we were thrilled.
Yep.
But so Twister, we went and saw.
Hook. Robin Williams.
We went and
Classic.
saw. We went and saw Twister, which pieces of it were filmed here. Everybody said Helen Hunt was delightful.
That's not true.
That is not what they said.
No.
But pieces that were filmed here. Now, let me tell you, one of the phenomenons that happens in California is dust devils.
Right.
Do you remember this?
Uh-huh.
Do you remember charging through hillsides
Oh, yeah.
with Greg Repko?
Yeah, we watched Twister. Now Twister was the one of the coolest movies. Like we thought, man, tornadoes, they're like why would anybody ever live in Oklahoma? Those things are crazy, But then we see the storm chasers in Twister and we're like, man, coolest job in the world.
Coolest job.
So Dust Devils. Have you ever seen a Dust Devil before, Ash? Okay,
have
so it's like
It's dust. I
yeah,
mean, it's dirt.
It's basically just spiraling wind, but it picks up in real dry climates. It picks up sand, and it creates kind of a funnel. And it looks a lot like a tornado, but obviously way smaller.
So one of our really, really cool friends, not geeky at all, Greg Repko, came up
he
with a
was super
system.
cool.
He was
Yeah.
so cool. Still is.
He's probably super successful
And
now.
maybe someday we'll have him on the show. I think that maybe, who knows? But Greg Repko, he might remember
call
this.
in.
It might be funny. Might be funny to actually talk to Greg about this because he would probably remember it happening.
Yeah,
But
we're friends on Facebook.
But he
which
came up, he
basically
devised
means
this
we're-
idea, right? Because the purpose in Twister was they were trying to get these devices in the middle of the tornado so that it would suck them up and
Right.
it would showcase
that was
you know,
scientific data
a
would be
scientific
collected.
tornado happening,
Yeah.
right? So they could see the inside of the tornado and how it works for some reason. So we wanted to do this with a dust devil, and Greg decided, hey, we'll get this 5-gallon ice cream container, fill it with dirt, mark measurements up the
Right.
side of it. We'll charge in on our bicycles, chase these dust devils, and we'll drop a
the bucket of dirt.
a Dorothy.
Our plastic ice cream Dorothy.
Our plastic ice cream Dorothy. Dorothy was what the name of the devices in Twister released. So we drop our Dorothy in the middle and see how much dirt or sand was sucked up out of the dust from the dust devil, and that's how we would measure the size of the dust devil.
Right.
See, we were really, really, really cool, and that's why we came up with
Obviously
these.
showing.
That's why we
how
came up with these
cool we are.
great ideas. Never.
Greg Ripko also liked sleight of hand magic. So we were.
I do recall that. I wonder if he still does it.
I don't know.
So anyway, so we would travel. We'd do these dust devil tricks. We'd pick it up. We'd do it, and I don't know that we ever actually got one in the line.
No, I don't think we did.
I think we chased a lot of dust devils.
They were pretty unpredictable.
Yeah.
We were
Didn't know where they were going.
at the very beginning of the science on dust devil study.
Also, the fact that we were riding our bikes to catch them.
Sure.
Even though they were 16-speed mountain bikes.
Right.
We're
Very good for the hills of Southern California.
very good. We're not great at picking up enough speed to catch up to a dust devil.
No, you'd have to start at the top of a pretty good sized hill and
Yeah.
hope that the dust devil was making a beeline for you.
And they always looked closer than they were.
Right.
You know, it was kind of
Yeah,
like
you'd
a
end
mirage.
up pedaling 6 miles and be like, wow, what happened?
Yes, and the dust devil's gone, and here I am with my bucket of sand and nothing to show for it.
So a large dust devil, winds can reach speeds of up to 60 miles per hour. That's just a blustery day in Oklahoma.
But if it was a large dust devil, that would be very hard to get on your bike.
Yeah, I don't think we would have made it. Even the small ones, even those 20-mile-per-hour ones, I don't think we're getting there on a bicycle, not on a flat run. So, which is where they usually were. So
now I don't even know. I mean, like in California, I don't even think there's room for dust devils there anymore.
We wouldn't. I mean, everything is filled with houses
Right.
now. But back then, there was still a lot of open space where
developmental or developing area for houses. It's just wide open fields and stuff down there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
whole different game. But that's what you did. We came up with interesting and weird things to do, while riding around the hills of Southern California.
Yeah, that was fun. Kept us entertained for at least a week.
I'm sure we were really on it.
Or 2 or 3 hours.
Anyway, that was
two.
that was one of those fond, weird little things that we got into. So
Yeah, I remember when we were told we were moving to Oklahoma. Twister was still fresh on the brain.
yeah.
Oh,
Well, that's because we never thought that we would move to the place where we had to deal with actual twisters. Unfortunately, I don't think that we would be able to use our dust contraption to pick up and register how big a tornado is.
The funny thing is, looking back and watching the Twister movies now, they're laughable.
All right.
You know what I mean? So it's just so
Flying cows.
it's just so ridiculous, and we had no idea coming in, but Mom had told us at one point that she said that people were in the theaters just laughing.
Right.
When they'd released it out here, because of some of the stupid things that they did or were able to do in these tornadoes,
Yeah. Tornadoes just aren't really realistic in Hollywood.
Nah.
Oh, I remember.
Well, it's like earthquakes in California. Everybody here thought earthquakes would be killing everybody there. You know,
that's true. That's true.
when we
Well,
moved
you
here,
want to go to California?
we moved
there's
here.
the earthquakes.
That was one of the big questions. What about the earthquakes?
Did you ever have to deal with an earthquake? Now we deal with more earthquakes in Oklahoma than we ever did in California.
Yeah, they're little ones though. I don't think they really count.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to anybody who had property damage. From
Well,
the
it's
earthquake
interesting that you say
Oklahoma.
that, because I'm thinking of now and remembering earthquake drills in school were a pretty normal thing.
Oh, yeah.
When they do tornado drills here, we did earthquake drills there.
Right.
And you'd get out underneath your desk and you'd hold onto the leg of the desk.
Well, you'd have to
And you cover your neck.
cover your neck.
One hand covered your neck, the other
You
hand
have to
held
curl
the
up
leg.
into a little ball.
Yep.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we loved doing earthquake drills.
Yeah, it's great.
They were so fun.
Yeah, it got you out of work for like 3 seconds.
Yeah, but the funny thing is they did fire drills all the time. Very rarely did you get an earthquake drill. And it was
Yeah,
so
they're probably required to do one a year or
yeah,
something
and
like
so
that.
every time an earthquake drill would happen, it'd be like, ow, an earthquake drill. Like, we were all thrilled, like super excited about the earthquake drill, almost so much so that you'd miss the whole thing because you're too busy panicking and excited that it's happening
Right.
to get underneath your desk.
Well, and then you would wonder why. Because you're just getting under your desk.
Right.
It's literally, a fire drill, you get to go outside.
I think it was just because of how unperiodically it happened. It was just an exciting thing for you as a second and third grader,
It's like when the ice cream man came down
Right.
the street. You never know.
You just never know.
It's unperiodic. Surprise. Best day ever.
Best day ever. It is interesting, though, to think that we ended up moving to the community that Twister was filmed in, after being such big fans of it,
Right.
in our early time.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yep. That's true. So, do we have a 90s phrase of the week?
phrase of the week. Let's see. The 90s phrase that pays is it phrase that where did phrase that pays comes from?
Probably if you remember the phrase later on in the week, then they pay you for it.
Oh, I think that's
we're gonna
probably
we
we're
don't
not
have
gonna
any
use
money.
that. How about the 90s? What should we call it? The 90s something of the week.
No, the idea is to rejuvenate some of these old phrases that were used, and bring them back into regular society for the 4 people that listen to our podcast.
Yes.
We're hoping to create a wave. If the 4 of you start saying these things,
the
and we'll see what
90s is
happens.
coming back. The 90s is coming back, and all of the slang terminology should come back with it. So,
Well, at least then we'll understand what's going on. Have you tried to talk to a teenager lately?
no.
Oh, good.
I mean, I have one, but I don't talk to her.
It's miserable. I've tried talking to her, and I just don't understand half the things that they're saying.
So this phrase, I'm going to ask you to see if you know where it actually came from
Okay.
after it's said and done.
Yeah, hit me.
All that and a bag of chips.
I do know where this came from because you just told me yesterday.
Oh, well then don't tell me.
Oh,
I mean, well, actually, let's see how good your memory is.
Subway.
It is.
Yeah, the owner of Subway, the original Subway, was actually called Pete's,
Correct.
and not to be confused with Pete and Pete.
Right. Different Pete.
Right. And basically, you could get your sandwich with everything on it, and then include a bag of chips. And when you ordered this specific sandwich, you'd ask for all that in a bag of chips. So people started saying, "Hey, you ain't all that in a bag of chips."
Or, hey, you all that in a bag of chips.
Right.
Oh, it was like a pickup line?
Either that or an insult, one of the two.
Depending on what you're going, hey, you ain't all that in a bag of chips.
The following podcast
Eat my short. Not the mama. Not the mama.
Goodbye.
Wake up. Wake up.